A renowned magnate finds the love of his youth begging on the streets with her two nearly 4-year-old twin daughters. He recognizes her, but what happens next is truly unbelievable. Before we dive into this journey, tell us in the comments which city you're joining us from. Feel free to enjoy the story. Arthur Sterling, a businessman with an unwavering nose for business, was walking along a busy corner of Aurora metropolis when a particular scene captured his attention. There, sitting on the sidewalk, was a woman in dirty, worn clothes, her hair tangled. Her face, marked by fatigue and visible suffering, was beside two small twin girls who appeared to be about 4 years old. They too were dressed in rags, and one of them whimpered softly, rubbing her eyes with her small, dirty hands. "Darling, everything will be all right. Someone will help us soon," the woman murmured, stroking the child's hair with a trembling voice, laden with desperate love. Arthur felt a pang in his chest. He recognized that face, even beneath the dirt and pain. It couldn't be, but it was Ilara Vance, the love of his youth. The girl he had watched from afar in school, who had never noticed him, except to mock his clumsy attempts to get her attention. Now she was there, vulnerable and helpless. Arthur approached slowly, his heart pounding. "Ilara," he called hesitantly. The woman slowly raised her head, her eyes widening as she recognized Arthur's voice. For an instant, neither of them spoke. The silence between them was heavy, laden with painful memories. Then Ilara lowered her gaze, as if wishing to disappear. "What happened to you?" he asked, unable to hide his concern. Ilara looked away, holding the girl's hands even tighter. "It doesn't matter, we're fine. Go away, Arthur," she said. But Arthur couldn't ignore what he saw. One of the girls was sobbing from hunger, while the other clung to her mother's arm, looking at him with wide, frightened eyes. The pain and despair of the scene hit him like a blow. "You're not okay. Come with me. I will help you," Arthur said. Arthur insisted. "I won't leave you and your daughters out here in the cold. Come with me, and I won't take no for an answer." The girls looked at him, curious but cautious. The one who had been crying pressed her lips together, holding back tears. Ilara hesitated, but Arthur's determined gaze made her yield. She knew she had no other choice. Arthur took out his phone and made a call. "My driver will be here in 5 minutes," he said before putting the phone away. "There's no reason for you to stay here." He extended his hand to Ilara, who clasped it reluctantly. When the car arrived, Arthur helped Ilara get in, carrying one of the girls while she held the other. The children were exhausted, their faces resting on their mother's shoulders during the trip to Sterling residence. The silence was oppressive. Ilara stared out the window, lost in thought, while Arthur cast occasional glances at her, trying to understand how her life had fallen apart. When they arrived, Ilara seemed visibly uncomfortable in the large mansion, with its cozy lights and immaculate garden that looked otherworldly. "You don't have to do this, Arthur," she said. "We can't argue anymore, Ilara. Come in, eat something, and rest," Arthur replied. The housekeeper, Mrs. Albright, opened the door with a surprised expression but said nothing. Arthur instructed her to prepare a room for Ilara and the girls. While Mrs. Albright took care of that, Arthur led Ilara and the children to the living room, lit the fireplace, creating a cozy and warm atmosphere, and asked for food to be prepared for them. "Thank you, Arthur. Thank you very much," Ilara said with tearful eyes, as the girls snuggled on the sofa beside her. Arthur nodded, his mind racing. He knew that night was just the beginning. The next day, he would need to understand what had truly happened to Ilara and how she ended up there. The sun was barely peeking through the windows of Sterling residence, but Ilara was already awake. Sitting on the edge of the bed, she watched her twins, Lily and Daisy, who were still sleeping soundly. For the first time in a long time, her daughters were warm and comfortable. This should have lightened her heart, but instead she felt a growing knot in her throat. On the other side of the mansion, Arthur was also awake. Sitting in his office, he went over everything he had seen the night before. The image of Ilara on the sidewalk holding her daughters wouldn't leave his mind. He needed to understand how it had all happened, as the Ilara he had known in school was confident, full of energy and seemed destined for great things. Soon after, the housekeeper gently knocked on Ilara's door.
"Miss Vance, breakfast is ready. Mr. Sterling would like you and the girls to come down." Ilara thanked her and woke the twins. A few minutes later, they went down together to the dining room, where a hearty breakfast awaited them. The girls ran excitedly to their chairs, delighted by the variety of fruits, breads, and juices. Ilara, however, remained hesitant. "Please, sit down," Arthur said, appearing at the door. He wore an impeccable suit over a white shirt and seemed relaxed, though his eyes revealed a serious tone. "Thank you," Ilara replied, pulling out a chair as she watched Lily and Daisy eat enthusiastically. During the meal, an awkward silence hung between Arthur and Ilara. He knew he needed to act cautiously, but he was determined to understand the truth. When the girls finished eating, the housekeeper took them to play in a nearby room. Ilara, now sitting alone with Arthur, watched him lean his elbows on the table and look her directly in the eyes. "Ilara, we need to talk. I want to understand what happened to you." She looked away, clasping her hands in her lap. "It's not a story I like to tell. I'm not here to judge, Ilara. I just want to help." Arthur paused, choosing his words. "When I saw you yesterday, you and your daughters were in a situation that, well, that doesn't happen overnight. What happened, Ilara?" She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for an instant before she began to speak. "After we graduated from high school, I started dating Damon Thorne. You remember him, don't you? He was the most popular guy in school." Arthur nodded, his jaw clenching at the name. He remembered Damon very well, someone everyone admired, but who wouldn't hesitate to hurt others to get what he wanted. "Damon and I started dating after the prom. I was in love and thought he felt the same way. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. When I told him, I thought we would face it together, but he abandoned me. He said he wasn't ready to be a father and didn't want the responsibility. That was the last time I saw him." Arthur clenched his fists on the table, struggling to contain the anger growing within him. "He just left you?" Ilara nodded, her eyes full of tears. "Yes, I was alone, with no support. My parents couldn't help much, and I did what I could to support the girls, but it wasn't enough. I ended up losing my job, and over time, the bills piled up. When Lily and Daisy were 2 years old, we were evicted from our apartment. Since then, we've been living on the streets, depending on the kindness of strangers." Arthur sat in silence, processing all the information he had just heard. The Ilara he had known was strong, but life had broken her in ways he had never imagined. "Why did you never ask for help?" he finally asked, his voice softer now. "I was ashamed," Ilara admitted, "ashamed of how my life had fallen apart. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, especially someone like you." Arthur took a deep breath, a mix of compassion and sadness. "Ilara, no one deserves to go through this alone. You won't be alone anymore. I will help you and your daughters get back on your feet." "Why, Arthur? Why are you doing all this?" she asked. He hesitated, but knew he needed to be honest. "Because, despite everything, I care. I always cared about you." Ilara remained silent, unable to reply. Arthur's words echoed in her mind as she tried to process everything that was happening. That night, as Ilara tucked the girls into bed, she reflected on what Arthur had said. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of hope. But she also knew that accepting help meant facing her deepest fears and rebuilding her life from scratch. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the large windows of Sterling residence. Ilara woke to the soft laughter of Lily and Daisy playing on the rug beside the bed. For a moment, she felt as if she were dreaming. It was hard to believe that just 24 hours earlier, she had been sitting on the sidewalk, not knowing where their next meal would come from. She stretched and called the girls to get ready. Clothes had been carefully chosen by the housekeeper and laid out in the room. Ilara was impressed by the attention to detail, though she still felt out of place in such a luxurious environment. When they went down for breakfast, Arthur was already in the living room, reviewing some documents. He looked up at the sound of the twins' footsteps and gave a slight smile. "Did you sleep well?" he asked. Lily nodded eagerly, while Daisy shyly clung to her mother's hand. "Yes, it was the best night we've had in a long time." Elara replied, with a touch of gratitude on her face. That's good to hear. Arthur gestured for them to sit down. You don't need to worry about anything today. I want you to rest. The girls can play in the garden or wherever they wish. Elara hesitated. Arthur, I don't know how to thank you for all this, but I don't want to take advantage of your kindness. As soon as I can, I'll find a job. Arthur raised his hand, interrupting her. No rush, Elara. First and foremost, you need to recover. Don't worry about deadlines. We'll sort this out together. Despite his comforting words, Elara still felt a weight in her chest. Accepting help wasn't natural for her. However, her daughter's well-being came first, and for them, she swallowed her pride. After breakfast, Lily and Daisy went to play in the garden under the governess's supervision. Meanwhile, Elara found Arthur in the kitchen, shaking his head as she tried to wash dishes, feeling uncomfortable not contributing more. Elara, you don't have to do that. I need to do something, Arthur. I don't feel right simply accepting everything without giving anything in return. Elara, if that's how you feel, that's fine. But for now, I want to talk about the girls. Do they have everything they need? Elara paused, thinking. They need a few things, like clothes and shoes. The ones they have are old and worn out. Great, let's go out and buy what they need. Elara's eyes widened. You don't have to, Arthur. I can handle that later. No discussion, Arthur said gently with a smile. I'll get the car. Half an hour later, Elara, Lily, and Daisy were at an enchanted children's store in the city center, with Arthur watching closely. The girls were delighted, running between the racks and trying on new clothes. Can I really buy this one, Mommy? Lily asked, holding a shiny blue dress. Elara's heart raced as she saw her daughter's bright, hopeful eyes. Yes, darling, you can. Daisy, the more reserved twin, held up a new pair of sneakers. Me too, Mommy? Elara nodded with an emotional smile. You too, my love. Arthur watched in silence, pleased to see the girls so happy. After they chose clothes, shoes, and some toys, he took them to a dream cafe for lunch. During lunch, the twins chattered excitedly, sharing stories and playing with each other. Elara watched them, feeling relieved to finally see them smiling. You've done so much for us today, Arthur. Thank you, Elara said sincerely. I just did what anyone should do, Arthur replied casually. You deserve it, Elara. She lowered her eyes, embarrassed, remembering how she had treated him before. You are a much better person than I was to you, Arthur, she murmured, almost inaudibly. Arthur frowned. Elara, the past is behind us. What matters now is what we do. She nodded her head, though guilt still lingered. When they returned, the twins ran straight to the mansion's garden, showing off their new clothes. Elara watched them from the living room, and a smile appeared on her face for the first time in years. She felt safe. Arthur, standing beside her, broke the silence. They are amazing girls. My strength to continue, even in the worst moments. They gave me a reason to go on. Arthur looked at her with admiration. You are stronger than you imagine, Elara. To have overcome everything you went through and still stand firm is admirable, something few people can do. She sighed. I don't know if it's strength or just stubbornness, but either way, thank you. Arthur smiled. If you need anything, you know you can count on me. Elara nodded her head, finally feeling that she could trust someone other than herself. The next morning, Elara woke to the soft sunlight streaming through the curtains. Lily and Daisy were still sleeping soundly, their faces relaxed, free from the worries they carried on the streets. Elara watched her daughters for a while. In that moment, she felt a mix of relief and hope that perhaps it was possible to start over. After getting dressed, she went downstairs and found Arthur in the kitchen, drinking coffee and reading the newspaper. He looked up when he heard her footsteps and smiled. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Yes, thank you. And you? She asked. Like a rock, he replied, folding the newspaper and standing up. I made coffee for you too. Sit down. Elara thanked him. She felt strangely at ease with the routine that was beginning to form. As she drank her coffee, Arthur sat across from her. I was thinking, now that the girls are more comfortable, we can start to focus on you. On me? She asked, surprised.
Yes, you mentioned wanting to go back to work. What kind of job are you looking for? Ilara was silent for a moment, pondering her options. I don't have an academic background, so my options are limited, but I'm willing to do anything that allows me to support my daughters. Arthur nodded. That makes sense, but what if you could study, complete your education, and get a job that truly brought you satisfaction? Her eyes widened. Study? That's out of the question, Arthur. I have neither the time nor the resources for that. You would have both here. I can help with expenses and ensure the girls are well cared for while you study. Ilara shook her head. It's unbelievable that you've already done so much for us. I can't accept anything more. Arthur leaned forward with a serious expression. Ilara, this isn't just about you, it's about Lily and Daisy. If you have the chance to empower yourself, it will benefit your daughters in the long run. Please think about it. Arthur's words deeply impacted Ilara. She knew he was right, but she still struggled with her pride and shame. That night, after putting the twins to bed, Arthur asked Ilara to meet him in his office. He had something important to discuss. I have a proposal for you, he began, handing her a small envelope. She opened it and found information about business and entrepreneurship courses. I'd like you to consider taking these courses. You are intelligent and determined, Ilara. I believe you have the potential to achieve great things. This will give you the tools to support yourself and create a better future for your daughters. Ilara looked at the papers. Her mind raced to process the offer. Arthur, this is too much. I'm not sure if you can do it. You are more capable than you think, and you don't have to decide now. Just consider the possibility. Ilara held the papers, feeling torn between fear and hope. In the days that followed, Ilara began to reflect on Arthur's proposal and, little by little, realized that this could be her chance to change her life and, more importantly, give her daughters the future they deserved. After much thought, she agreed to enroll in the courses and, with Arthur's support, began to study during the day while the twins were cared for by the housekeeper. Although the beginning was challenging, Ilara felt invigorated by learning new skills and rediscovering a side of herself she thought she had lost. Each day was a small victory, and she clung to the idea that she was building something lasting. Arthur closely monitored her, offering encouragement and support whenever she needed it. He knew that Ilara needed to believe in herself as much as he believed in her. Ilara, in turn, began to realize how important Arthur had become in her life. His constant and unwavering support was slowly breaking down the barriers she had built over the years. Ilara's routine was changing rapidly. On mornings when Lily and Daisy played in the garden, she spent hours studying in the office Arthur had set up for her. At first, each page read felt like climbing a mountain, but once she found her rhythm, Arthur's constant and unwavering support motivated her even more. One afternoon, as Ilara was reviewing her notes, Arthur entered the room with a serious expression. She immediately realized something was wrong. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind him. Ilara's stomach churned. "What is it?" "I found someone from your past," Arthur replied, sitting opposite her. Damon Thorne. The name echoed in Ilara's mind. Damon, the man who had abandoned her when she needed him most, the father of her daughters who had never acknowledged them. Ilara took a deep breath, trying to control the surge of emotions. "What does he have to do with this?" she asked, her voice firmer than she expected. "I've been looking into some things to better understand what happened to you after high school. I found Damon and decided to confront him." "You did what?" Ilara was surprised. "I needed to know the truth about what he did to you and why he abandoned you." "Arthur, you had no right to do that." "Perhaps not, but I did it for you." Ilara remained silent, her chest tight. She knew Arthur had good intentions, but bringing Damon back into her life was like reopening a wound that hadn't fully healed. "What did he say?" she finally asked, her voice hesitant. Arthur rested his elbows on the table. "He admitted everything. He said he knew you were pregnant but didn't want to take responsibility. He claimed it was easier to disappear." Ilara felt her anger rise like a wave. She expected nothing less from Damon, but hearing those words out loud still left her bewildered. "Did he mention the girls?" she asked, her eyes welling up with tears. "No, he didn't even ask about them, Ilara." She clenched her fists, trying to hold back the tears. As much as she despised Damon, a part of her had always hoped that one day he would show remorse, or at least some curiosity about the daughters he had abandoned. Arthur stood up and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ilara, you don't have to face this alone. I'm here." She looked at him, fighting to resist the urge to break down. "Thank you, Arthur, but there are things I need to sort out on my own." That night, after putting the girls to bed, Ilara sat at the kitchen table, staring blankly at a cup of tea that had grown cold. Arthur's words echoed in her mind, and the thought of Damon lingered like a bitter memory. She knew that to move forward, she needed to confront the past once and for all. In the days that followed, Ilara tried to resume her routine, but the memories of Damon and the confrontation Arthur had mentioned weighed on her like an anchor. Arthur, noticing the change in her behavior, decided to give her space, but watched her with concern. One morning, Ilara made her decision. She picked up the phone and called Damon. He answered after a few rings, his voice indifferent on the other end of the line. "Damon, it's Ilara. We need to talk." There was a brief silence before he responded. "About what? It's been so long." "It's about the girls. You never wanted to know anything about them, but that needs to change. Not for me, but for them." Damon sighed. "Ilara, I've made it clear I don't want to be a part of this. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? Because I'm not." Ilara's heart ached, but she kept her voice firm. "You never met them, and you never took any responsibility. I've moved on, Damon, and I think you should too." Before she could reply, the call dropped. She stood there, holding the phone, trying to process the emptiness left by that conversation. It was the closure she needed, but also a harsh confirmation that Damon would never be a part of his daughters' lives. When Arthur came home that night, he found Ilara sitting on the sofa, with the twins sleeping beside her. He sat down next to her, waiting in silence for her to speak first. "I spoke to Damon," she finally said, breaking the silence. Arthur frowned and asked, "How did it go?" "As expected, he wants nothing to do with them. Feels nothing." Arthur clenched his fists, his anger evident. He doesn't know what he's missing. Ilara looked at her daughters. "I didn't do this for him, Arthur. I did it for the girls. I needed to be sure there was nothing left to expect from him, and now I know. Now I move on. I don't want the girls to grow up in the shadow of a father who never cared." Arthur nodded, admiring the strength Ilara showed. He knew she still carried the pain, but he could also see renewed determination in her. The next morning, Arthur surprised Ilara with a small gift, a notebook and an elegant pen. "What's this?" she asked, curious. "A tool for you to plan your future. I want you to write down your goals and what you need to achieve them. We'll work on it together." Ilara smiled, touched by the gesture. "Thank you, Arthur. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're doing exactly what you're doing now, rebuilding. I'm just here to make sure you have every chance of success." With Arthur's support, Ilara continued her studies, determined to create a better life for herself and her daughters. The confrontation with Damon had been painful, but also liberating. She knew she no longer needed to look back. The days flew by in an instant. Increasingly organized, Ilara now focused entirely on her studies and raising the twins. Arthur remained by her side, offering unwavering support, and their relationship naturally deepened, marked by shared understanding and small gestures of care. One afternoon, while Ilara was reviewing her notes in the living room, Arthur walked in with a folder in his hand and a mysterious smile. Intrigued, she looked at him and asked, "What's that?" setting the notebook down on her lap. "This," Arthur replied, handing her the folder with documents and a preliminary contract. Ilara read the heading, "Project Assistant, Sterling Enterprises." She frowned and looked at Arthur in confusion. "Are you asking me to work?" "I'm not trying to pressure you, Ilara, but I thought this could be a good way for you to start your career, applying what you're learning."
This is a temporary position with enough flexibility for you to continue studying and taking care of the girls. Elara hesitated as she read the contract details. The offer was generous, but she still felt insecure about working directly with Arthur, given the emotional bond they were building. "Arthur, I'm not sure I'm the right person for this. I don't have any." "You have more experience than you think, Elara. You're learning fast and have already shown you can handle challenges. I'm not offering this as a favor. I truly believe in your potential." Arthur's words seemed sincere, and Elara could feel the weight of his encouragement. She knew that accepting this job would be a big step, but she also feared not living up to expectations. After a few seconds of silence, Elara finally took a deep breath and smiled slightly. "All right, I'll do it, Arthur." He smiled, clearly satisfied. "You won't regret it. We'll take it slow, and in time, you'll see what you're capable of." The next morning, Elara was introduced to Arthur's team. Despite her nervousness, she soon realized that he had chosen patient and understanding people to guide her in her work. The job required organization, attention to detail, and the ability to meet deadlines. But Elara faced each challenge with determination. The twins also seemed happier and more adapted to the new routine. They spent their afternoons playing in the garden or drawing in the kitchen, filling the previously silent house with the sounds of childhood, laughter, and energy. Arthur often joined them when he could, strengthening his bond with the girls. One evening, Elara was reviewing reports in the office when Arthur walked in with 2 cups of tea. He placed one beside her and sat on the desk. "You're doing very well," he commented, observing her. Elara smiled at him, her cheeks slightly flushed. "I realize I still have a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying the challenge." "That's what matters, growth. It comes with effort, and you're showing admirable strength." She looked away for a moment, trying to control the wave of emotions his words stirred. "Thank you for believing in me, Arthur." He simply smiled in response, and the silence that followed felt comfortable, almost intimate. Over the following weeks, the connection between Elara and Arthur deepened in small gestures, such as prolonged glances or brief touches that suggested feelings they both hesitated to admit. But it was undeniable that something was changing. That afternoon, during a team meeting, Elara presented a surprising idea to optimize the logistics of a project. Everyone in the room, including Arthur, was impressed. He, visibly proud, didn't hide his smile as he praised her. "Excellent initiative, Elara. We'll implement this immediately." She thanked him, feeling confident and fulfilled for the first time in years. At the end of the day, as they walked to the parking lot, Arthur stopped and looked Elara in the eyes. "Do you realize how much you've grown since you arrived here?" She shook her head, smiling softly. "I still feel like I have a lot to prove." "You don't need to prove anything to anyone, Elara. You're already amazing exactly as you are." Elara's heart raced, and for an instant, the world around them seemed to disappear. Arthur moved closer as if he wanted to say something more, but the sound of the twins running towards them interrupted him. "Mommy, look what we made!" Lily and Daisy shouted, showing colorful drawings. Elara laughed and knelt to hug them. Arthur watched the scene with a smile, feeling a deep happiness to be with them. Later that night, as she tucked the girls into bed, Elara reflected on how much her life had changed in recent months. Arthur's support, the affection he showed the twins, and the way he encouraged her to move forward meant more to her than she could express. As she lay down, she felt a mixture of gratitude and apprehension. She knew she was falling in love with Arthur, but a part of her still feared opening her heart again. Arthur, on the other hand, found himself thinking about Elara. He deeply admired her qualities: strong, resilient, and dedicated. Despite their complicated pasts, he felt there was something special between them, something worth exploring. In the following weeks, these feelings became even harder to ignore. The silences at Sterling residence grew longer after long days of work and playing with Lily and Daisy. Elara often found herself lost in deep reflection, sitting on the edge of the bed with the lights down low, thinking about how much her life had changed. But even surrounded by Arthur's comfort and support, a shadow of the past still remained. Her thoughts lingered on that night. Arthur couldn't sleep either. He sat in the living room, staring blankly at the flickering fire in the fireplace, his thoughts revolving around Alara. Something about the way she sometimes isolated herself bothered him. He knew they needed to have an honest conversation about what they were both feeling to move forward. The next morning, while Lily and Daisy played in the garden, Arthur took the opportunity to approach Alara. She was in the kitchen organizing the groceries that had just arrived. Arthur entered silently, watching her for a moment. Just as he was about to speak, Alara said, "Can we talk?" She paused, realizing by his tone that this was no ordinary conversation. "Of course, what is it?" Arthur gestured for her to follow him to the living room. They sat down and he began. "There's something I've wanted to say for a while, but I wasn't sure how to." Alara leaned forward slightly, her heart starting to race. "What is it?" "I deeply admire your strength and resilience, Alara, but I see that you still carry a lot of guilt. I think it's time for you to free yourself from it." She looked away. Arthur's words touched a raw nerve. "I know I've made many mistakes in the past. I made choices that brought me here, and sometimes I feel like I don't deserve the life you're offering me." Arthur shook his head. "No one is perfect, Alara. We all make mistakes, but you've been doing everything you can to overcome your challenges. You deserve this and much more." His words touched Alara deeply, like a soothing balm on the wound she had hidden for so long. Alara took a deep breath, realizing it was time to confront her insecurities. "I never apologized for how I treated you when we were younger, Arthur. I was selfish and immature, and I didn't see the value of the people around me. I hurt you, and I'm very sorry for that." Arthur was silent for a moment, assimilating her words. He finally said, "Alara, the past doesn't matter anymore. We've both changed, and what matters now is what we're building together. I forgive you, and I hope you can forgive me too." Tears welled up in Alara's eyes, but this time they were tears of relief. She felt as if a huge weight was being lifted from her shoulders. She looked at Arthur, who returned her gaze with calm and understanding. "Thank you, Arthur, for everything. You don't need to thank me. I'm here because I want to be." That moment marked the beginning of a new chapter for them. The tension of the past began to disappear, and they both felt they could finally open up completely to each other. In the following days, Alara noticed a lightness in her heart that she hadn't experienced in years. She dedicated herself to work and studies with renewed enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Arthur continued to support her every step of the way. One night, after putting the twins to bed, Alara found Arthur in the garden, sitting on one of the rocking chairs under the soft moonlight. The light illuminated his face. He seemed lost in thought. "Are you okay?" Alara asked, sitting beside him. Arthur smiled. "Yes, I was thinking about how much has changed. I remember when I saw you that night on the sidewalk. I never imagined we would end up here." "Neither did I," Alara admitted, "but I'm glad it happened." "Me too." The silence between them was comfortable, as if words weren't necessary. Arthur looked at Alara, the soft glow of the moon reflected in her eyes. He knew he was falling in love with her, but he didn't rush anything. "Alara, do you believe in second chances?" he asked, breaking the silence. She smiled, pondering his question. "I think I'm starting to believe." Arthur nodded, encouraged by her answer. They knew they were heading for something special, something they both needed, but only time could confirm it. The next morning, Arthur decided to plan a surprise for Alara and the twins. He organized a small trip to Fazenda Allegra, where they could spend the day outdoors, away from the hustle and bustle of Aurora metropolis. Lily and Daisy were radiant when they heard the idea, and Alara, though surprised, was grateful for the opportunity to spend meaningful time with her daughters and Arthur. The day was filled with laughter and unforgettable moments. The girls fed the farm animals, ran through the fields, and enjoyed homemade ice cream. Meanwhile, Alara felt more connected to Arthur than ever. He seemed completely at ease interacting with the twins, as if he had always been part of their family. At the end of the drive home, Lily and Daisy slept soundly in the back seat, exhausted but happy. Alara watched Arthur as he drove in silence, and a slight smile appeared on her face. "Thank you for today," she said softly. "You don't need to thank me. It was a special day for all of us." "Yes, it was, and it meant so much to me to see the girls so happy. This is just the beginning, Elara. Many more moments like this are yet to come. She smiled, touched by his words. For the first time in years, she believed the future could be bright. When they arrived home, Arthur carried the twins to their room, making sure they were comfortable before turning off the lights. Elara stood there, moved by the care and dedication he showed. That night, as she lay in bed, Elara felt ready to finally let go of the past. Arthur was right. Second chances existed, and she wouldn't waste the one she had been given. Mornings at Sterling residence were now full of life. Lily and Daisy ran around the house, laughing and filling the atmosphere with their joy. Arthur, who once lived in a quiet house and a life focused exclusively on work, found himself increasingly involved in the twins' routine and, more importantly, in Elara's growth. One morning, as Elara was getting ready to leave, Arthur invited her to accompany him to an important meeting, an opportunity to observe how he conducted negotiations and led his team. Although excited, she was also nervous. She didn't want to make any mistakes or feel out of place. "Are you ready?" Arthur asked, waiting for her near the entrance. "More or less. I hope I don't mess everything up." "You'll manage. You'll be great, Elara. Trust yourself." When they arrived at Star Tower, Elara was impressed by the grandeur of the place. Arthur led her to the meeting room where several executives were already gathered and introduced her as a promising collaborator, which made her feel proud and a little embarrassed. During the meeting, Elara listened attentively, absorbing every detail. Arthur encouraged her to share some of her ideas, and to her surprise, her suggestions were well received. "You have a very clear perspective," commented one of the executives. "Thank you. I'm still learning, but I'm happy I could contribute," Elara replied with a modest smile. Arthur observed the interaction with satisfaction. He had always known Elara was capable, but seeing others recognize her potential and skills became even more gratifying. After the meeting, Arthur took her to a nearby cafe and they sat at an outdoor table. Elara, now relaxed, ordered a cappuccino. "You look incredible today, Arthur," she said, taking a sip of her coffee. "I was so nervous," she admitted, "but it was exciting to be part of it." "This is just the beginning. You are building something solid, Elara." She looked at him, feeling profound gratitude. "None of this would be possible without you, Arthur. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself." "All I did was show you the way. The credit is all yours." Their moment was interrupted by a call from the housekeeper, informing Arthur that Lily and Daisy had asked for her. Arthur smiled. "It seems your little ones miss you." "They're attached. They can't stay away from each other for too long," Elara said, laughing. They returned home, and the twins ran to their mother and hugged her tightly. Arthur watched the scene, feeling a deep connection with the girls he loved, their boundless energy, and how their laughter could light up any space. Later that afternoon, Arthur decided to organize a small picnic in the garden. Lily and Daisy were delighted to help prepare a basket with sandwiches, fruits, and juice. Elara sat on a blanket on the lawn, watching the girls run with Arthur. "You're getting more and more comfortable with them, Elara," Arthur said, sitting beside her. "They are incredible children. It's impossible not to get attached to them." "Thank you for being so good to them, Arthur. They feel safe and happy here, and that's all I've ever wanted." Arthur smiled. "They are part of you, Elara, and for me, that's enough." His words touched Elara deeply, and she felt her heart race. She knew her feelings for Arthur went beyond gratitude, but the fear of completely opening her heart still held her back. As night fell, Lily and Daisy, finally tired, fell asleep in their mother's arms. Arthur helped Elara carry them to their room, and together they carefully tucked the girls in. As they walked out into the hallway, Elara stopped, looking at Arthur. "You changed our lives." "You know you changed mine too." The intensity in Arthur's gaze made her feel vulnerable, yet safe at the same time, and she knew she could no longer ignore what she was feeling. Later that night, as Elara was in the kitchen preparing a cup of tea, Arthur entered. He was silent for a moment, watching her, before approaching. "Elara, there's something I need to tell you." She turned to face him, her heart beating faster. "What is it?" Arthur hesitated briefly, but decided to be honest. "Since you arrived, my life has completely changed. You and the girls have brought something to my world that I didn't even know was missing. I care about you, Ilara, much more than I can express." His words hit Ilara like a wave, catching her by surprise for an instant. In that moment, she didn't know how to respond, but then she smiled, her eyes shining. "Arthur, I care about you too, but all this is still very new to me. I need time." Arthur nodded, respecting her honesty. "I understand. I'm not asking you to rush. I just wanted you to know how I feel." Their moment was interrupted by a faint noise from upstairs. Lily had woken up and was calling for her mother. Ilara smiled and went to take care of her, leaving Arthur alone in the kitchen. He sighed, looking at the abandoned teacup. Earning Ilara's full trust would take time, but he was willing to wait, for what he felt for her and the girls was worth every moment of patience. In the days that followed, the relationship between Arthur and Ilara continued to grow, marked by small but significant moments with each passing day. Ilara felt increasingly comfortable with him, while Arthur remained patient, giving her the space she needed to heal. There was a long journey ahead, but both were ready to face whatever came their way, together. Under the sky of Aurora Metropolis, which was covered by dense clouds, signaling an imminent storm, Ilara was in Arthur's office, analyzing the reports he had asked her to prepare. She felt more confident in her abilities now, more prepared, but still approached each task with the same dedication and seriousness of someone who understood how much that job meant to her new life. Arthur entered the room, carrying 2 cups of coffee. He placed one next to Ilara and sat opposite her, watching her silently for a moment before speaking. "You're doing very well, you know." Ilara looked at him, surprised by his casual tone. "I'm trying, but I still feel like I can improve." "You're hard on yourself, and that's a great quality, but I want you to know that I'm proud of everything you are." As he finished, her cheeks flushed slightly, and she turned her gaze back to the computer screen. Arthur's compliment felt like more than a professional compliment. There was a tenderness in his voice that she couldn't ignore. Time seemed to pass quickly as their bond deepened naturally. Arthur always found ways to show he cared, whether through small gestures or words that made Ilara feel special. And she herself gradually found herself lowering the protective wall she had built, though she still maintained discreet vigilance. One night, after the twins had gone to bed, Arthur suggested that Ilara join him on the mansion's terrace. She hesitated, but let curiosity guide her. When they arrived, Ilara was impressed by the view. The city lights sparkled like stars, and the fresh night air carried a calm that contrasted with the usual hustle and bustle of Aurora Metropolis. Arthur stood beside her, silently admiring the way her eyes reflected the city's glow. "I used to come here when I needed to think," he finally said, "but lately I don't feel that need anymore. I think it's because I've found something that brings me more peace." Ilara turned, realizing there was something more behind his words. "What brings you this peace, Arthur?" "You," he said without hesitation. His words took her by surprise, and for an instant she was speechless. Arthur took a step closer, closing the distance between them. "From the moment I saw you that night, something inside me changed, and with the time we've spent together, I've realized that what I feel for you is different from anything I've ever felt before." Ilara's heart raced. She knew her feelings for Arthur were growing, but hearing his confession aloud made everything seem more real. "Arthur, all of this is so new to me. I'm still trying to find my footing and be strong for myself and the girls. I'm not asking you to rush, Ilara. I just want you to know how I feel." She took a deep breath, looking into his eyes. There was a sincerity there that she couldn't ignore, and for the first time in years, she felt that perhaps it was safe to open her heart again. "I feel something for you too, Arthur, but I need time. I need to be sure that I'm ready to move forward." Arthur nodded, respecting her hesitation. "I will wait as long as it takes." Their moment was interrupted by the distant rumble of thunder, signaling an approaching storm. Ilara looked away, feeling the cool breeze on her face, and suggested to Arthur, "We should go inside before it starts raining." He agreed, but the sparkle in his eyes made it clear that their conversation had changed something between them. In recent days, the atmosphere between Ilara and Arthur had become increasingly charged with emotion. There was a subtle tension in their interactions, as if both were trying to find a balance between the personal and the professional. One evening, Arthur decided to surprise Ilara with a special dinner. He asked the housekeeper to look after the twins and personally prepared a meal for the two of them. When Ilara came downstairs and saw the elegantly set table, she was speechless. "You did all this?" she asked incredulously. "I wanted to do something special for you," he replied with a smile. During dinner, as they talked about everything, work, childhood memories, dreams for the future, the conversation flowed effortlessly, and they felt increasingly at ease in each other's presence. "I never imagined I would be here, with this chance to start over," Ilara reflected. "And if it weren't for you, Arthur, I don't know where we would be now. You'd be somewhere fighting, as always. I had the privilege of helping, but it was more than that. You believed in me when no one else did, and that makes all the difference." Arthur reached across the table and took her hand. "I will always believe in you, Ilara, always." His touch was warm and comforting, and Ilara felt the walls she had built over the years begin to crumble. She knew she still had fears, but she also knew that Arthur was different from anyone she had ever known. Dinner ended, and Arthur walked her to her bedroom door. For an instant, they stood in silence, just looking at each other. "Good night, Arthur," Ilara said softly with a gentle smile. "Good night, Ilara." As she closed the door, she leaned against it, feeling her heart race. For the first time in years, she was trying to imagine a future where she wasn't alone. Meanwhile, Arthur walked down the stairs with a smile on his face. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to take every necessary step to win Ilara's heart. That night, when the rain finally began to fall, they both fell asleep with a new sense of hope, as if the future was beginning to reveal itself. Ilara and Arthur's daily life began to flow with surprising ease, to both their surprise. The twins were growing increasingly fond of Arthur, and he, in turn, showed genuine affection for them. But Ilara still had moments of doubt, not about her feelings, but about whether she would be ready to fully trust someone again. One afternoon, as Ilara was working on reports in the office, her phone vibrated on the table. It was a message from an unknown number. When she opened it, she saw a photo of Arthur talking with an elegant woman in a restaurant. The caption read, "You really didn't know?" Ilara felt her heart pound. She knew Arthur had a social life and professional contacts, but the message disturbed her. The doubt she had tried to push away returned with force. Who was that woman, and why would someone send her a message like that? Arthur arrived home later that day, and as soon as he found Ilara in the living room with the twins playing nearby, he immediately noticed something was wrong. "Are you okay?" he asked, sitting beside her. Ilara hesitated for a moment before responding, showing him the message. "I received this today." Arthur frowned as he looked at the image. It was a business meeting. She's a consultant we're hiring for a project. Ilara wanted to believe him, but the message had cast a shadow of mystery over her trust. "Why would someone send me this, Arthur? It seems like they're trying to warn me about something I don't know, but might discover." "Ilara, you have to trust me. I would never do anything to hurt you." His voice was firm, and his tone conveyed sincerity. Ilara looked into his eyes and saw something she couldn't ignore, the transparency of someone with nothing to hide. "I want to trust you, Arthur, but my life has been full of disappointments, and it's hard to ignore that fear." Arthur gently held her hands, giving her a comforting squeeze. "I understand, Ilara. I won't pressure you. I just want you to know that I'm here to face anything by your side." In the days that followed, Arthur investigated the source of the message and discovered it had been sent by a disgruntled former employee he had fired months ago. Upon seeing the evidence, it became clear there was nothing to fear. Ilara felt a mixture of relief and guilt. She knew she was still learning to trust, but she also realized that Arthur was willing to do whatever it took to ensure her emotional safety. One night, after putting the twins to bed, Ilara went to find Arthur. He was focused on some documents in his office, but looked up when she entered. "Can we talk?" she asked, closing the door behind her. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Ilara sat in the chair opposite his desk and took a deep breath. "I want to apologize for doubting you. I know the message shook me, but that doesn't excuse my lack of trust. You've always been honest with me, and I need to be fair to you." Arthur gave her a soft smile. "You don't need to apologize, Ilara. I know how hard it is for you to let your guard down. I'm here to help, not to judge." His words touched a sensitive chord in Ilara, causing tears to well up in her eyes. "You are so different from anyone I've ever known, Arthur. It scares me, but it also makes me want to believe that I can be happy again." Arthur stood up and walked over to her. Kneeling beside her, he gently wiped away a tear that streamed down her cheek. "You can be happy, Ilara, and you don't have to do it alone." That night, something changed between them. The walls Ilara had held up for so long finally began to crumble. The days that followed were filled with increasingly intimate moments. Arthur continued to show patience and affection, while Ilara, little by little, allowed herself to trust him completely. One afternoon, during a walk in Sunrise Park with Lily and Daisy, Arthur watched Ilara playing with the girls. In that moment, he felt an unwavering certainty. This was the life he wanted. He wanted to be with her and the twins forever. When they returned, Arthur asked the housekeeper to watch the girls for a few hours and took Ilara to the mansion's terrace, the same place where they had had a crucial conversation months earlier. "Ilara, there's something I want to tell you." She looked at him, her heart racing. "What is it?" Arthur reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box, opening it to reveal a delicate ring. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you and the girls. You have brought light and joy into my life in a way I never imagined. Ilara, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she covered her mouth in shock. "Arthur, yes, I will." Arthur smiled as he placed the ring on her finger before pulling her into a tight embrace. The storm that marked the beginning of their journey had finally passed, and they were ready to start a new chapter together. While the twins slept peacefully in the next room, Ilara and Arthur talked about their plans for the future. A simple wedding, full of love, and a life built on the trust and respect they had cultivated so much. What was difficult to achieve that night was just the beginning of a journey full of happy moments and challenges they would face united as a true family. Preparations for Ilara and Arthur's wedding began simply, but with great significance for both. Ilara wanted an intimate ceremony, surrounded only by those who were part of her new life, Lily and Daisy. The girls were delighted with the idea of being flower girls, and Arthur involved them in every detail, from choosing the flowers to trying on dresses. Despite the joy that filled every moment, Ilara knew she still needed to confront one last ghost from the past. Although she had accepted that Damon, the twins' biological father, would never take responsibility, she felt she needed to face him one last time. "Arthur, I need to talk to Damon again," Ilara confided one night while they were on the terrace. Arthur frowned, concerned. "Do you think that's really necessary?" "Yes, not for him, but for me. I need to close this chapter once and for all." Arthur took her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "I understand. If that's what you need, I'll be by your side." The next day, Arthur managed to find Damon's address. Ilara decided to meet him alone, but felt comforted knowing that Arthur was just a phone call away. When she arrived, she found Damon standing outside a small bar, visibly worn down by time and the choices he had made in life. "Ilara?" he said, surprised to see her. "Yes, it's me. We need to talk." Damon sighed and gestured for her to follow him to a table in the corner. He seemed restless, as if hoping it wouldn't take long. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice weary. "I'm here to tell you that I expect nothing more from you. I made my choice years ago, but the girls deserve to know that I did everything I could to give them the best, and now I'm with someone who loves them as if they were his own children. Arthur is everything you never were and never will be, Damon." He didn't respond, but the look in his eyes showed that he understood the weight of her words. Ilara stood up, feeling she had said everything she needed to, and as she left the bar, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. Upon arriving home, she found Arthur in the backyard with the twins, helping them set up a play tent. "How did it go?" he asked. "I resolved the situation the way I needed to, and now I'm truly ready to move on, Arthur." He smiled and hugged her, saying, "I'm proud of you." In the days that followed, Ilara focused entirely on the wedding preparations and her new life with Arthur and the girls. She finally felt she had found a home, not just physically, but in the love she shared with Arthur and in the laughter of Lily and Daisy. On the morning of the wedding, Ilara was nervous but radiant in her elegant white dress. She looked at herself in the mirror, thinking about how her life had changed. The twins, dressed like little princesses, ran into the room, holding flowers. "You're beautiful, Mommy," Lily said, her eyes sparkling. "Thank you, my darlings. You both look stunning, too." With a heart full of emotion, Ilara walked down the aisle where Arthur awaited her. Their gazes met, and in that instant, all her doubts dissipated. The wedding was simple, but filled with love and meaning. Every word in their vows reaffirmed the bond they had built, not just as a couple, but as a united family. During the ceremony, Lily and Daisy ran into Ilara and Arthur's arms, shouting with joy. The future that once seemed uncertain was now a promise of happiness and togetherness. After the wedding, the Sterling residence seemed even more alive. Lily and Daisy quickly adapted to the idea of a complete family. Ilara felt she had finally found her place in the world, and her days were filled with laughter and tender moments as she and Arthur built their new routine together. On their first morning as a married couple, Ilara woke to the sound of birds outside the garden. Turning over, she found Arthur beside her, watching her with a serene smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Sterling." She smiled, still adapting to her new title. "Good morning. I'm ready to start our new life." More than ready. Their first few months of marriage were filled with gratitude and renewal. Arthur supported Ilara in balancing work and studies, while continuing to be a dedicated father figure to Lily and Daisy. He made sure to be present for all important moments in the girls' lives, from small school achievements to bedtime stories. One afternoon, while organizing some documents in the office, Ilara began to feel dizzy and, assuming it was just fatigue, decided to rest. However, the symptoms persisted in the following days. Arthur noticed her tiredness and insisted she consult a doctor. "It's just tiredness, Arthur. I'm fine," she said, trying to reassure him. "Perhaps, but it doesn't hurt to check. I want to make sure you're taking care of yourself." Ilara agreed, albeit reluctantly, and scheduled an appointment. She felt a little anxious about the appointment, but didn't expect any important news. After routine examinations, the doctor delivered news that would change their lives once again. "Congratulations, Mrs. Starling. You're pregnant." Ilara was silent for a moment, processing what she had just heard. The idea of having a child with Arthur filled her with joy and surprise. Upon returning home, she found Arthur in the living room playing with Lily and Daisy. His smile reassured her, telling her that this was the perfect moment to share the news. "Arthur, can we talk for a moment?" she asked. He noticed the seriousness in her tone and asked the girls to go play in their room. Once they were alone, Arthur approached, curious. "What is it, Ilara?" She took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. "Arthur, I went to the doctor today and found out I'm pregnant." For a moment, Arthur was silent, processing the information. Then a huge smile lit up his face. "You're pregnant?" He nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yes, we're having a baby." Arthur pulled her into a tight hug, his heart overflowing with joy. "Ilara, that's incredible. I don't even know what to say." The following weeks were filled with emotion as they began preparations for the arrival of the new family member. Lily and Daisy were radiant with the news that they would have a little brother or sister, and enthusiastically helped Ilara choose clothes and decorate the baby's room. One quiet evening, as they watched over the sleeping twins, Arthur and Ilara reflected on everything they had overcome to reach that moment. "It feels like so much has happened in so little time," Ilara said, gently caressing her growing belly. "And every challenge has brought us here. I'm happier than I ever imagined I could be." Ilara smiled, grateful to have Arthur by her side. Despite all the difficulties they faced,
She knew that she was now building a life full of love and hope. The pregnancy united the family even more. Arthur was attentive, always ensuring Ilara's comfort, while Lily and Daisy could hardly wait for their siblings' arrival. Every detail of the planning was filled with affection and joy. However, as with any journey, there were moments of concern. During a routine checkup, the doctor advised Ilara to have additional rest due to a small risk of complications. Upon hearing this, Arthur became even more attentive, taking responsibility for many daily tasks to ensure Ilara could relax. "I don't want you to worry about anything, Ilara, except taking care of yourself and the baby," he said firmly but gently. Ilara gave a soft giggle. "You're spoiling me too much, Arthur." "You deserve all the care in the world, Ilara." The months flew by, and before they knew it, the due date was near. On a calm night, as a gentle breeze swayed the curtains, Ilara went into labor. Arthur remained calm, though his emotions were evident, and quickly took her to the hospital. Hours later, a baby's cry echoed through the delivery room, bringing indescribable joy to everyone's hearts. It was a boy, healthy and strong. Arthur held the baby in his arms, overcome with emotion, while Ilara looked at the two with tears of happiness. "Welcome to the family, my son," Arthur said, his voice choked. Emotionally, Lily and Daisy, who were eagerly waiting in the hallway, were brought in to meet their brother. They were enchanted, promising to always take care of him and protect him throughout his life. At Sterling Residence, the mansion seemed complete. What once seemed an unlikely family was now a shining example of love, unity, and resilience that every challenge pushed them to overcome. The future seemed more promising than ever. As Arthur rocked the baby in his arms and the twins played nearby, Ilara felt that she had finally found what she had always longed for: a home full of life, with love and people who would do anything for each other. What did you think of Arthur and Ilara's journey? Share your opinion in the comments below and rate this story on a scale of 0 to 10. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to follow all our stories, and check out many more exciting stories by clicking on the final screen.